All right, we're diving into a massive debate today, one that could literally define the future of Bitcoin. On one side, you've got this idea of Bitcoin as a digital fortress, right? An unchangeable, unbreakable store of value. And on the other side, well, you've got this unstoppable technological force that's threatening to smash those walls to pieces. It's a classic immovable object versus unstoppable force showdown, and it is happening right now.
So let's kick things off with this really powerful quote from MicroStrategy's Michael Saylor. He's not pulling any punches here. He's saying the biggest threat isn't some external hacker or government. No, it's the people inside the community who want to improve the protocol. This is the first big idea we need to wrap our heads around, that maybe, just maybe, Bitcoin's greatest strength is never changing.
So let's really dig into this unchanging fortress idea. The philosophy here is that Bitcoin is basically a finished product. Its core value comes from its rock-solid stability and predictability.
And that brings us to this term you might hear, protocol ossification. Now, it sounds super technical, right? But the idea is actually pretty simple. Think of it like a fossil. The rules are literally set in stone. For people who believe in this, that's not a bug. It's Bitcoin's greatest feature. It's what makes it trustworthy, neutral, digital money you can count on.
If you subscribe to this view, then any attempt to change Bitcoin's core code, even with the best intentions, is a potential catastrophe. Why? Because it brings in politics, it brings in debate, and it opens up all sorts of new security risks. It shatters that core promise that your Bitcoin will work the exact same way today as it will a century from now.
But what happens if a threat comes along that's so huge, so powerful, that it might actually force a change? Well, that's where the other side of this debate comes storming in. And that threat has a name: quantum computing. So the big question is, how could a quantum computer actually do it? How could it crack the code of the most secure computer network ever created? You know, this isn't just a hypothetical thought experiment. It's a question that genuinely keeps cryptographers up at night. Okay, so here's the theoretical playbook. Step 1, someone somewhere builds a quantum computer that's powerful enough. Step 2, they load up a very specific piece of software called Shor's algorithm. Now, here's the terrifying part. This algorithm can look at your public Bitcoin address, the one you share freely, and work backward to figure out your private key. And once an attacker has that key, it's game over. They can sign transactions as you, and poof, your Bitcoin is gone. Let me put it this way. With the computers we have today, trying to guess a Bitcoin private key is like trying to find one specific marked grain of sand on every single beach on Earth. It is, for all practical purposes, impossible. A quantum computer running Shor's algorithm, that's like having a treasure map that leads you directly to that exact grain of sand. It just completely flips the entire security model on its head.
Okay, so before you start panic selling, let's all take a deep breath. Most experts agree that a machine powerful enough to pull this off is still a ways out, at least 5 years, probably more. So the sky isn't falling tomorrow. The reason this conversation is happening now is because preparing for this threat is going to take a very, very long time. So, how is the crypto world actually gearing up for this long-term threat? Well, you can bet they're not just sitting around waiting for it to happen. Some of the biggest players in the game are making some serious moves.
And this is a huge deal. Coinbase, one of the largest and most influential exchanges in the world, has officially assembled an advisory board to tackle this head-on. This tells you we've moved past the academic what-if stage. This is now a real-world, high-stakes problem that major companies are pouring resources into solving.
And just look at the lineup they've got. You have Dan Boney from Stanford, a total legend in cryptography. Scott Aronson, one of the world's leading quantum theorists. Justin Drake from the Ethereum Foundation, and Sriram Kannan, the founder of EigenLayer. I mean, this is basically the Avengers of crypto and quantum security. It just shows how seriously the industry is taking this.
It's also really interesting to see the different strategies playing out between the two biggest blockchains. The Bitcoin community is, true to form, being very cautious. They're kind of in a wait-and-see mode, wanting to let official standards for quantum-resistant crypto develop first. Ethereum, on the other hand, is going all in. For them, it's a top strategic priority. They've got active research teams and are already testing potential solutions. And this is where it all gets really dramatic. You've got this future threat that's maybe 5 or 10 years away, but you have a solution that could easily take just as long to develop and safely roll out. It is, quite literally, a race against time, and the clock is ticking.
So why the big rush? Well, cryptographer Jameson Lopp just lays it out perfectly. Upgrading Bitcoin security isn't like updating an app on your phone. We're talking about a massive, unprecedented migration of trillions of dollars in value. That is a delicate, complex operation that you absolutely cannot rush. It could easily take a full decade to pull off safely.
And you can actually see this shift in thinking happening in real time. This chart from Willy Woo shows that before 2025, discussion about quantum risk among Bitcoin devs was basically zero. It was a fringe topic. Now, it's over 10% of the conversation. It has gone from a theoretical curiosity to a very real engineering challenge.
This timeline just drives the point home. Look how fast this escalated. In December 2025, Jameson Loeb sends out that warning shot about the long migration timeline. Then boom, in the span of a single month, January 2026, you get Saylor's warning, the Ethereum Foundation spinning up a dedicated team, and Coinbase launching its all-star board. This whole thing went from 0 to 100 almost overnight.
So, all of this brings us full circle, right back to the fundamental conflict, the core dilemma that Bitcoin is facing right now.
And this right here, this is the entire story in a nutshell. The very quality that makes Bitcoin so valuable, the fact that it's designed to be unchanging and resistant to influence, might be the very thing that makes it vulnerable to this incredible threat. It's a profound paradox, and there is no easy answer.
So that's the multi-trillion-dollar question we're left with, isn't it? How does a system whose entire value proposition is that it never changes prepare for an existential threat that absolutely demands change? This isn't just a technical puzzle to be solved, it's a fundamental test of what Bitcoin is and what it's going to become.